And we are live. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Let's Talk Fishing video podcast. Tonight I have a very special guest. All of my guests are very special, but this one I've done a lot of work with, and spend a lot of time on the phone talking to him. A guy by the name of John Stoughtenger. And John's from New York, and he's an avid bass tournament angler. But first, I'd like to tell you that the Garden State Outdoor Sports Show is going to take place January 6th through 9th of 2022 at the New Jersey Convention and Exposition Center in Edison, New Jersey. The Northern Illinois Sports and Outdoors Show will take place January 13th through the 16th of 2022 at the Lake County Fairgrounds in Grace Lake, Illinois. Go on in there, guys. Go to the Grant Rods booth and tell them Jay sent you. They're going to put some of the best rods you can possibly imagine in your hands. Then you too will believe. Grant Rods, follow the leader. John, how have you been, buddy?
Hey, thank you for having me on, Jay. I've been doing well. A little busy, a little trying to get things straightened around for this year, but outside of that, or I shouldn't say this year, next year. Outside of that, we're living large.
You sure are. John, why don't you tell us about your podcast?
All right. Well, about a little over a year ago, I was listening to Harvey and Rhonda Horn. They had a family podcast, talked about his fishing and things like that. Over on his channel is H3 Fishing, I believe. And so my wife and I decided, why can't we do that? And she was actually the backbone and the brains and the looks. Well, she still is all three of those for my podcast. But yeah, we do that. It's over on my YouTube channel, JCX Fishing. And we also have it streaming live on our Facebook channels. And we pretty much have roughly the same format you do. We interview guests, do some tips and tricks and stuff like that. And thanks. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, well, it's great to have you on. You've taught me a lot about this, about the StreamYard platform. You also have taught me a lot about the business end of this. As you know, I've been a writer for a long time. And also I've had a podcast for quite a while now, but
yep.
I feel if you stop learning, you're just not.
Exactly.
You might as well just give up if you stop learning, because I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. One of my mentors told me years ago that the day you stop learning is the day you die.
Mm-hmm.
So I truly believe that, and that's another reason why the podcast world is great for everybody, not necessarily fishermen, but you look at YouTube, number 2 search engine in the world, and that's because people want to learn stuff.
They do.
It's not that one person is better than the other. It's just everybody's knowledge is a little bit different, and you just have to find out what suits you, what style is yours. Someone like you who's good on the radio, good on at talking and things like that. I truly believe that's probably the best way for you to spread your education and opinions.
No, this has nothing to do with fishing, but when I was working offshore in electronics, I can't tell you how many times at 3:00 in the morning, I'm up there with our computer outside playing the same YouTube video 100 times, trying to figure out how to fix this tiny little component of electronics.
Yes.
And that was on YouTube. I found stuff on there you couldn't imagine, that even the customer service of the company who made it didn't know how to fix.
Yep.
And, oh, great, we're 150 miles offshore. It's a huge oil drilling rig, and it can't run because it's a little bitty piece of electronics, and YouTube saved the day. Man, YouTube is, thank you, John. I wanted to have you on here so I could publicly thank you for helping me to transition to StreamYard, because that's great for me.
Not a problem. I stumbled on it just watching YouTube videos myself, because I wanted to do a podcast, and I wanted to do a live podcast so that we could take questions from people.
Yes.
And that's pretty much what got me into StreamYard. So, but yeah, it's definitely a great platform. And they're adding to it. When I first started, that you couldn't use your cell phone. Well, now you can. So,
Okay, we have our first comment.
oh
It's
boy.
Cajun Rob Fishing. There's a good friend of ours. Hey, how you doing there, Rob Welsh?
Hey Rob, how you doing, buddy?
And a big
Yeah, he's
hello to Rob as well.
yes.
He's
I spoke to him a couple days ago.
yes. So John, tell us where are you going to be fishing tournaments next year?
Jay, I'm not 100% positive on my schedule yet.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the New York Bass Federation just came out with theirs, the Bass Nation.
Yes.
So as of now, I have the opens. Well, here's my schedule that I have written down. I have to pare it down a little bit. 14th to 16th of April is James River Bass Open. 30th of April is Candlewood Lake, the NYTBF.
Okay.
What's that?
Okay.
Couple BFLs down in the Potomac, then back to New York for Lake Champlain and then Bass Nation. Then a little south to Lake George in the NYTBF. Then I'm going to team up with a friend of mine, Kyle Patrick, and fish cash and tournament on Oneida Lake on July 25th. And then July 7th through the 9th, an open on Oneida. July 9th, if I don't, because I don't fish the last day, I'm going to drive up to Messina from Oneida, which is about a 3-hour drive. So that's about half my schedule. So right now I got about 19 tournaments.
19
that I'm going to try to pare down to excuse me, Jay. We still trying to get over this. I'm going to try to pare it down a little bit.
19, that is an aggressive schedule, but I love it. I love it.
Thank you. It'll be fun if I do it all, but if not, then we can only do our family allows us to.
But that's what I like about guiding and tournament fishing is it kept me on the water, all open water for the entire open water season when I lived up in the Northland. Yep. It kept me on the water. It kept me going to different places. It kept me meeting different people, and cementing relationships with other people who I fished with for years. And it's just, I don't know, tournaments were pure adrenaline for me.
Yes.
Pure adrenaline. When they called your boat number and you revved up your engine, it just.
Yep. And for me, tournament fishing is it's a lot of the camaraderie and the meeting new people.
Yes.
And I've met plenty of people that I would never have met. Plenty of great people that I would have met fishing. If I wasn't fishing.
Oh, Cajun Rob says that John, are you going to the Bassmaster Classic in South Carolina next year?
I didn't qualify.
You didn't qualify for
no.
Bassmaster Classic?
No, I didn't. But I'm not sure what I'd
You too, man. Yeah, you two crack me up all the time.
I was a little bit out of the points. Let me just say I was not even close.
Close.
I guess you have to say, you got to be in it to win it. Well, if you're not in the elites, you're not going to make it to the classic. So, but I'm not 100% positive. I'd like to. My wife and I have talked about going to the last year down in Texas, and then it got changed and we couldn't make it. So
I had a place to stay because I have three different sets of family down in Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay.
And I had a guy who was going to take me fishing down or up there. I guess it's up there for me.
Yeah.
And then I got sick. And then they moved it back and I was even sicker. So yeah, it just wasn't meant for me to be there.
No, I feel the same way about me. But,
I thought everything was. Cajun Rob says that you were too busy putting out pie fires.
Oh, I stay away from those. I really do. Matter of fact, I have 2 chocolate silk pies in the fridge that my wife told me was mine.
Yours.
Yeah. So.
Man, chocolate silk.
Oh, it's one of my favorites, and she does
Oh,
a
yeah.
homemade topping on it. I shouldn't say homemade. I apologize, everybody, in advance. This cough, but yeah, she has a recipe that for a topping that she puts on them that you can't beat.
Well, one thing I'd like to talk to you about. You're from New York State, not New York City.
Correct.
There's a
And there is a
huge
difference.
Well, that's what people when I told them I was from Illinois. Oh, you're from Chicago? No, I'm not from Chicago.
Yeah. Well, when I went in the Army, I used that to my advantage because I was 5'6", 106 pounds. Okay. Yeah, I was thin, and they thought because I was from New York, I was a bad butt, you know, and they thought I might have been a gang runner and stuff like that. And look, I was scrawny, I was short, but I was fast, and never been in a gang in my life.
No.
Don't know anything about them except for what I see and read.
Only seen them a couple times in my whole life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're over the years we've been talking about smallmouth bass. Could you please tell the people your favorite method to fish for smallmouth bass up there in the waters of New York?
I prefer, my favorite method is a drop shot. I talk to people and they say they crankbait for them, and I don't. I own probably 200-300 crankbaits easy that sit in my tackle room and really hardly ever go out.
Okay.
Yeah, I just haven't gotten into it. I have 3 or 4 cranking rods, cranking reels, and but before I forget, I saw your podcast the other night or last night's podcast, and I like your haircut.
Oh yeah.
But no, I love drop shotting, and to me, there's no better way to do it than up here. You know, you could drop shot anywhere from 6 inches of water up to hundreds of feet up here. I mean, if I wanted to, I can go to the lake next door. If somebody let me borrow their boat, and I can put out 600 feet of line, vertical. You know, it's that deep. They Seneca Lake, they test the sonars for the Navy. That's what they used to do out there, and they still have the platform that's armed and working.
Okay. So you work with a company that makes call tags, correct?
Yes, I kind of bought the company this year, Jay.
You bought the company.
Yes, I
didn't realize that you had bought it. Oh my goodness.
MGM Call Tags, formerly owned by Mark Carroll, a friend of mine. He wanted to get out. I had some stuff going on. We all do. He wanted to get out, and we talked about it. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I wanted to have something to do with the fishing industry. Didn't know if I wanted to make my own baits, but then you look at lead and plastics, and they're not good for your lungs, melting those things. And I have a lung disease, and I decided to opt out of that. And when Mark approached me about this, we struck up a deal and ended up doing pretty good on it so far. If you don't mind, you mind me showing?
Please do.
Okay. So a couple of things that are different about these call tags. Okay. I don't know if you can see. I'll try my best to hold them up. Okay. They're all numbered. Each top has a number on it. This is a 6.
Okay.
Okay. Here's a 1. Backwards. Okay. Not only are they numbered, but they're also color coded, because some of the older culling systems that you would use are color coded, not numbered. So this gives the purchaser different options. They can either use the number or the color. So all the colors are standard. Like the number 1 is always white. The number 2 is always a chartreuse green. Number 3 is orange. Number 4 is a yellow. Number 5 is a red. And number 6 is a green. They come standard in that color. And they float. Okay. So they're not going to drop down at the bottom and get all tangled around the fish.
Hey, John, let me interrupt you for a second.
Yes.
Now, for those listeners who don't know, what is a cull tag used for?
Okay, so basically when you're in catch and weigh tournaments, okay, you catch them, you put them in the live well, you weigh them off-site or whatever. You have to have a way to tag the fish so that you know which one is the bigger ones and smaller ones, because you never want to keep a smaller fish if you don't have to, if you're going by weight. So what you do is you put one of these tags. They used to put them in their lips, like with a baby clip.
Yes.
A big clip. And if as a fish would swim around the live well and be frantic and stuff like that, they would develop big holes in their lips, big tears. So what they do, what we have is a one that you just clip on the lip. Okay. There's let me get here. Okay. So you just take it and squeeze it. All right. Now this one, I don't have the O-rings on yet. But let's see. The orange one does. The orange one has the black rings on them. Okay. So this is how they come. Boy, sorry, Jay. Okay, you see the black ring here?
Yes, I do.
Okay, that puts more tension on it so the fish can't pull the bait out.
Okay.
Or pull the clip off.
Sure.
And yes, you can do it one-handed. Okay, you just have to put it over, you got the 2 parts of the lip. You got the fat part, or the bone part, and then you got that little thin membrane. If you put the clip right past the fat part into the membrane, it's not going to come off. So you could just take, I have pictures on my website, on the MGM Cull Tags website, mgmculltags.net. On Facebook, there's some videos. On YouTube, I have a YouTube channel, MGM Cull Tags 8, I believe is the thing. And I also have videos there of people lifting fish right out by these. People hold them over the side of the boat, at a tournament.
Is that correct?
Correct. And, but, they're $50 shipped to your door. We do run specials every now and then.
I was in a walleye tournament probably 20 years ago, and I wish I would have had some MGM cull tags, because we caught 2 fish, and one of them was real respectable. And I was taking it out to put him into his net. He had a big net. He didn't have a small live well net. That's what we call it. And that fish slipped right out of my hands and actually took a swan dive off of my arm and went right back into the water. That was about 5 pounds. We didn't get the weigh.
Right.
And we didn't make it to the second day because of that.
Yeah. It's
Needless to say, it was a long 6-hour drive back with that guy.
Yeah, I understand.
Knowing that I was the guy who did that. I didn't say that. If I would have had an MGM cull tag, I would have just grabbed that. I wouldn't have grabbed the fish. I would have grabbed the lanyard,
Yeah, and on our Facebook page, there's pictures of guys holding 5, and they're holding their whole keel. They're 5 fish, and some of them look like they're 25, 26 pound bags of fish for 5 fish. So they hold.
Well, that's great. Man. So people can order these MGM cull tags right off this website I put up here.
Correct. Yep. And we have other apparel. We have merchandise as well. There's coffee mugs, hats, hoodies, T-shirts, and stuff like that as well.
Well, that's great. So you're a business owner now, and you're going to fish 19 tournaments next year.
We're hoping.
And you have a daughter.
And a wife. Yes,
and
a 4-year-old daughter and a wife. Yep.
No, you're not going to sleep.
Well, the way I'm feeling now, I don't sleep much anyway, Jay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I apologize to everybody, but.
Oh, geez, don't.
Yeah, I canceled my podcast Monday because of this.
You just can't seem to shake that thing.
No, I'm finally getting back at it, so we're getting there. But yeah, I mean, the cold tags are good. A good business venture I got into. I don't regret it. They sell. People love them. Every time I talk to somebody, nobody has I haven't had a negative comment yet on them. I've had several people contact me wanting me to put them on my pro staff, and I'm very selective with that. If you don't own the tags and don't use them, it's not happening. I'm not one of these guys who are going to just sign somebody up to sell a set of tags. No. But I have one person that approached me, sent me a couple of videos of him using them, and he did it the right way. He used the product and proved to me that he wants to work with me.
So what sets MGM cold tags apart from other products that are on the market?
A couple things I think of. One is they float, okay?
Yeah.
And they don't tangle in the live well. A lot of the cold tags that have the balls on top, they'll wrap around themselves. So you have to try and untangle them like that. And we come with a variety of colors. I know I showed you the tops. Now here's the bottoms, and you saw the bottoms, but there's a blue, a yellow, red, orange, black, and pink. So there's plenty of colors to choose from. If you're both black and you want a black set, if you want a yellow set, just when you order, make sure you select the right cue and go from there. They float. They're lightweight. I've not had any break on me. I test them out. I do a pull test on them, before I ship them out to make sure they're going to hold. If I can put 10 to 15 pounds of pressure on them, then they shouldn't break from a fish.
Okay. So when you're drop shotting, John,
Yes.
what is your go-to soft plastic?
I got involved with Bass Snacks last year, and a friend of mine's excuse me, out of Ogdensburg area up in New York, and he came out with a bait he called the goby. I'm like, man, that's a nice looking bait. I've used stuff like this for perch, so I tried it. And last year, people were throwing that Berkeley the flatworm.
Flatworm, if you can get it.
Yeah, I mean, I had bunches of them, and I still do. But I fished in a tournament. I'm like, well, actually, I think it was Oneida. It may have been Oneida Open, and or the tournament before that. I can't remember. But I was throwing. No, wasn't getting bit. I tried the flatworm, wasn't getting bit. I threw out this goby and had 4 bites, and it was practice. I had 4 bites and 2 drifts to this one spot, and I'm like, yep, this is it. So during the tournament, that's what I was throwing. And then the next tournament, well, it was 1,000 Islands. Might as well try it again. And I just kept on throwing it and throwing it and throwing it. And they were eating it real well. And I apologize. I was going to bring one up to you, but I didn't have time to dig through my area. It was a color called, we call it John Cotto because I use it so much. It's an avocado goby. But he's like, dude, we're going to change the name of this. I'm like, all right, what do you want it to be? I go, I don't care. You call it. And so we called it John Cotto. And it's an avocado goby. And I've had guys over on Lake Erie using it. And when I went there for my Federation tournament or Bass Nation tournament at the end of the year, that's what I used. And I was out fishing my boaters from the back using it. And they were using, most of them were trying to use the flat worm or the flat minnow. And it kind of made me a believer that it was the action of the bait because it has a curly tail, like a little curly tail grub.
Sure.
And it performed better in the water that had a little bit of current. So I think the action of the tail was pretty much it.
Interesting.
Yes.
And that's Bass Snacks, right?
Correct.
That's SNAX.
Correct. Yes.
A lot of guys like that in Indiana for some reason.
I'm not sure.
Well, they do. I've had a few guys on when I was doing an audio podcast from Indiana, and they all talked about Bass Snacks tubes.
Okay.
They like their tubes over there in Indiana.
Good.
You know, I used a lot of tubes. Well, back in the day, we didn't do drop shotting. You know, back in the '90s, and that I primarily used for smallmouth was in deeper water was tubes.
Correct. Yes. I'm sorry. I've gotten away from tubes a lot lately. I've been drop shotting and throwing football head jigs.
Well, that's, you know, back in the '90s, that's tubes were a standard.
Pretty much, yes.
You know, you didn't have, you had tubes and you had all the largemouth baits.
Correct.
And of course, you can catch smallmouth on largemouth baits, but not like you can tubes.
Yes. I mean, I still have friends that throw them, but I feel that I feel safer throwing a 3/4 or 1 ounce football head jig.
Okay.
Excuse me. Over
1 ounce. Are you using that in current or?
Yes, I'm using it wherever. In current, in lakes.
I guess I've gotten away from using the heavy jigs because around here most of the water I'm fishing is between 1.5 feet and 3 feet deep, and
yeah,
it just wouldn't make any sense to use a one ouncer in that. I mostly use 3/8. Correct.
Yep. Yeah. I up here drop shotting. People look at me like I'm crazy because, you know, I will start out with a 1/4 ounce and go up. If I'm fishing St. Lawrence River, Thousand Islands area, I will throw a 1/2 ounce or a 5/8, sometimes 3/4, depending on where I'm at in the depth. One of the things as a co-angler, here's a tip for some co-anglers too. And if you're a boater, please don't pay attention to this. I upsize my weight. If the boater tells me he's throwing a 1/4 ounce weight, I will throw a 3/8 to a 1/2. I want my bait to get down there before them. And I may draw that reaction strike. So if Cajun Rod decides to switch to go from the back of the boat to the front of the boat, please do not listen. But no, that's one of the tips. And I mean,
speaking of going from the back of the boat to the front of the boat, our friend Mo,
yes,
is going to be going pro. Now we can't call him Bassmaster co-angler Mo Collins. We have to call him Mo the Pro.
There you go. Not until 23, right? 23?
Yes, 23.
Okay, so we still have a year.
But we're gonna razz him for a whole year until that happens.
Or we can call him Mo Co to Pro. Pro to Co Mo.
Co to Pro Mo.
Yeah.
Pro Mo. Oh boy, we're gonna have fun with this, aren't we, John?
100%. You know, no sense of doing it if you're not gonna have fun.
Fire story, you know.
Yep. And if you don't mind, Jay, I do have the cold tag organizers back in stock.
Sure.
Okay.
And what is that for?
What's that?
That's a cold tag organizer?
Yep. So basically what you do is you take the clip and it clips right onto there in the live well.
Wow, it goes right in your live well. Is that magnetic then?
No, it's about 6 inches. It comes with a double-sided duct tape, or double-sided duct tape.
Okay.
Yep. And you just stick it on the live well lid, inside, and then you just take your clips. You can line them up however you want. Set them in there. Okay.
Sure.
and it keeps them nice, and you always know where they're at.
I like that because
Yeah. How
I
many
always
times?
know where things are at until I need them.
Yep. You put them in the best hiding spot you could find.
Yeah. Then you get done and you're all tired and you're driving back to the hotel and you just throw stuff everywhere and wonder why you can't find it tomorrow.
Yep. I understand. Yes. It's interesting, isn't it?
It's just the way life goes.
Yeah.
Then when you learn and you're like me, I can always do that when I get older, and I got older and now I have health issues. Thanks.
Yep.
That's why I'm glad I did so dang much fishing when I was younger.
Yeah. So.
Well, hey
But
John,
yeah.
do you have anything else that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Going back to the drop shot, I prefer like my setup is a 7.2 to 7.3 medium rod, medium action. Right now, I'm going to be using Kissel Crafts custom rods out of Georgia. Switched over to them this year. I'm going to pair that up with an Ardent reel. I talked to Ardent, and I'm on board with them for the reels. Let's see, who else? Oh, K9, my K9 line. Okay. I'll put 20 to 30 pound backer on it with 6 to 8 pound. 8 pounds the highest I go drop shot.
Yes.
Okay. Most of the time it's 6. But other than that, I use a Hayabusa, either a number 1 or 1/0 drop shot hook.
Okay.
Yep. I know we were talking about drop shot, and I just wanted to make sure all questions were answered if there was any. So.
Well, sure. Do you have any shout outs you'd like to do, John?
If you don't mind.
Oh, please.
I already gave you, as I already hijacked and gave you a couple.
Sure.
Bass Snacks. I should say pretty much my only plastic company I use this year, but there was a couple others. It's Pro Fishing. That's where I get my apparel, my hoodies, and all that stuff. MGM Cull Tag, surprisingly enough. Martin's Custom Baits. He makes swim baits, jigs, swim jigs, spinner baits, and Wicked Weights quality tungsten. K9 Fishing I mentioned Ardent this year. Hayabusa hooks, a Fillmore custom. There's a company you might want to talk to is Fillmore. They do jerk baits, crank baits, a lot of walleye stuff. Heat Your Meat is a spice rub.
Oh, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. Andy's World Favorites, made with habaneros and not jalapenos. Yeah.
Dang.
To clean the insides out, Jay.
Yeah.
Trigger Happy Comfort Grips and Buck and Bass rain gear. I've mentioned before on my podcast how the Buck and Bass saves me my hats and everything. Yeah, some of the names I'm finding, they're not all.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, but you do it.
But we have a like with my business, I cater to small companies. Okay, my marketing, and I try to find some of the small. If you look on there, Buck and Bass and Ardent are the two names people might recognize. Okay.
I'll never forget the name of Buck and Bass.
No, you don't, because it sticks out.
That's a good marketing scheme.
It is, and can't forget about that one. But no, it's phenomenal, Jay. They have recipes on their website that for free that you can take, and so.
Well, okay, John. Well, I know that you're a very busy guy. I know that
Sure.
You've been a little under the weather lately, but I'd like to thank you for coming out, for taking time out of your schedule to come on. Oh, we have some comments here where they came in. It's good old Rob. He said also, wow, my eyes are getting bad. What is his go-to favorite drop shot weight and style of weight?
Okay. It's the Black Onyx series by Wicked Weights. They came out with a Black Onyx, which also has the weight impressed in it. Half ounce. Man, I my size, it depends on where I'm at. You know.
Yes.
If there's no current, if I can get away with a 1/4 ounce, I'll throw a 1/4 ounce. If there's current, and one of the things I'll do is I'll say, "Hey Rob, what are you throwing?" And he'll say, "Well, I'm throwing a 1/4 ounce." I'm like, "All right, thanks, buddy. I'll throw out a half ounce, 3/8."
Yeah. And also Rob says that Mo is still always going to be the restaurant connoisseur, pro or co.
That's probably true. I invited him and his wife over to our place down in Virginia, have a meal. So, because he's going to fish that open, I believe.
I think he's going to fish all the opens next year.
I think so too, but I'm not sure.
And he also, Cajun Rob said, John, what has been your best boat or draw as a co?
Nothing like you, name-wise.
Yeah, you never got to fish with Gerald Swindle or...
No, and honestly...
or Clay, you know?
Yeah.
Clay Dyer, what a great... Man, I could learn so much from that man. Just about life, you know, about appreciating
exactly. Excuse me. My best boater draw. Wow.
It's a hard one, isn't it?
It is, because there are so many that you have in a lifetime, or that I've had in my life, that have meant so much in different ways.
And they all kind of
you know, I can't narrow it down to one. I can give you a couple.
Okay, why don't you give us a couple?
Jim Bianchi, local guy up here, Rochester, New York. I fished with him, the Federation, and sealed up my co-angler of the year, AOI, with him way back in 2012, 13, 14, something like that.
Congratulations, congratulations on that, man.
Hey, thanks. So, and you know, we become good friends, and I helped him orchestrate. I pre-fished with him during the Open when he won it.
Ooh.
Yeah, up here on Oneida, and I fished. I mean, Chris Fiore last year on Oneida, guy out of great kid out of Virginia. Loved fishing with him. A couple guys, you know, I fished with. Well, Bill McDonald I fished with in the Opens back in 2013. Lucas Pro guy. You guys might have heard of, but every excuse me, every pro or co I fish with, however you want to call it, is an experience. You know, you have to learn from what they do and go from there.
Sure.
So, Rob, I'm sorry to beat around the bush, but I can't.
Well, it's just not an easy. It's not an easy.
No, it's not. And I'm thankful that they allow me to get on their boats to go out fishing with them.
Yes. Well, hey, thank you very much for coming on the show. And in closing, I have to tell people that the Garden State Outdoor Sports Show is going to take place January 6th through 9th, 2022 at the New Jersey Convention and Exposition Center. And that's in Edison, New Jersey. The Northern Illinois Sports and Outdoor Show will take place January 13th through 16th of 22 at the Lake County Fairgrounds. And that's in Grays Lake, Illinois, guys. Go on, stop in there. There's going to be a lot of people at the Northern Illinois Sports Show. I just know more people since that's my old stomping ground in Northern Illinois. Come on out there. There's going to be some great people. Stop into the Grant Rods booth. Tell them Jay sent you. And thank you again, John.
Thank you, Jay. Take care, and I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, and keep up the good work.